Hi guys, thank you very much for joining me. So I have not done this in a while. I'm Paulina here, coming to you from beautiful Mexico. I'm in Playa del Carmen talking to you, especially about Venus and her quality through all the 12 signs and houses. So first of all, I'd like to tell you a little bit about me. I don't understand Venus. My energy is actually beyond it. So her energy to me does not contain anything anymore, since it is a few, like quite a few degrees before my sun. And here's where you have a big blind spot in your 12th house, so to speak. And yes, there are lots and lots of people that don't understand their Venus, especially if it is before their sun, or maybe sometimes just before the ascendant, and things like that, and to some degree before the moon or a stellium. There are lots of us that don't understand Venus, but by talking about this astrologically, I hope to help myself understand it more and help you too as well understand this mystical, beautiful, gorgeous, milky, and graceful planet that supposedly brings up a lot in us. First of all, Venus is blood. So Venus is not exactly what it seems. When I'm doing a health reading, I usually use Venus as a way to understand your endocrine system and also to a degree your bile and blood and everything that sort of moves within you. The best idea to really recognize her is to realize that she is a circulation, or rather the circulation of will, and together with Mars, yes, it creates a beautiful push and pull with all these different nutrients and beings, bacteria and parasites that we have inside us. So it is not just entirely love in this very beautiful Grecian mythological way. It's actually a beautiful, I suppose, understanding of how your body works inside. So when you're looking at your Venus, and also you look at your Sun and you look at your Neptune, here you have the perfect combination for all health concerns, because Neptune is lymph, and of course Venus being blood and the circulatory systems, and also endocrine health, and yes, the Sun being energy and what you bring about, or who you are as a totality. And yeah, those things can be very easy to understand if you just bring yourself to seeing that Venus isn't love like a Grecian woman, you know, like Venus the goddess. It's not love, it's just circulation. What makes you pump, what makes you feel, what makes you pump forward, what makes you feel curious, what makes you feel understood or understanding. It's like decadence, attraction, attracting, and also being attractive. That is all here. But the most powerful thing that I can tell you about Venus is that it is not the one for love. Venus is not the one for love. We can sometimes see it as a way forward. We can see how our blood and body moves through this particular planet. We can understand what it was for us perhaps in the past, or what it will be in the future, as a continuum as to what we're going to attract and how we're going to be attracted or attractive. But it is not by any means the planet for the significant other that you seek. And I want to underline this even more by telling you this, that your moon, the fascia, is what controls your relationships with other people. And though you might not really feel or understand it, it also controls your emotions and relationships in relationship to other people, in relationship to anything that is other outside of yourself. And though you might not perhaps want to see it, but Earth does exist in your chart. It is directly opposite to your Sun. So if it is like, say, 20 degrees Capricorn, your Sun, then it will be at 20 degrees Cancer. Please have a look at your charts. Please have a look at the degree of your Sun. And then you'll see automatically the opposite. The polar opposite to your Sun is always the planet Earth. There are lots and lots of people that don't know this. But this is where you understand who you are matched to, where you are most competent, and how to really generate that pure-hearted, full-bodied, lustless love. So this is not about lust. Love lives on planet Earth, and it always will give much greater results than you think. I mean, to be chasing Venus, okay, I got Venus in Capricorn, you know, Mars and Pluto conjunct, you know, no. Just make it okay that you probably don't know yourself through your Venus, don't know who you are entirely through her, but you might get much more insight and much more competence as an astrologer or an oracle, or just as a person, the person who studies esoterics, by recognizing that Venus is not love. It is just fixation, it's the pull, it is attention, it is something that makes you feel like you can move into a certain direction. It is a gentle swivel, it is a pull into something. It's more sensitive than true love. Because love, we all know this, we still can't say this, you know, lives in here. It is not within the reach of another, and it's definitely not in sex or the need for emotionality or the desire to control a partner. And we have lots and lots of misconceptions here on this planet Earth, simply because we don't understand that here is love, Earth is love. Moon can as well reflect this, because it is also in the dark. One of the greatest, habits that you might have sometimes is to stay up late, because during this time you might understand much more than before, than during the day. And love, 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 and light of all being lives here on this planet Earth. That's where we have it. If you are looking for a true compatible partner, if you are truly feeling the greatest openness to beauty, if you are seeing beyond the corruptible bond, if you're seeing beyond parasitic relationships, if you want to see beyond ownership, it's important, ownership of another being, if you want to see beyond and far greater results for yourself than just, physical construction, if you would like to see much more for your children, much more for your mom and dad, much more for your world, much more for everyone, you should really start to see the planet Earth as the love center in your chart. Love. And I'm not saying like what's sexy, what's good looking, what's funny. It's not about what makes you feel that you want to touch it, but rather what actually makes you resonate, what makes you spark. And yeah, though this is very, very difficult, some people don't still understand the full functionality of love, and hence it depletes their light body. And yeah, so like the crux between the sun, the light, and also your earth is important. But yeah, Venus can sometimes be a taking back or a taking away. It depends on how you flow. You had a bad day, Venus is a bad energy sometimes for some of us, But one of the best things that I could say about Venus, to really recognize it, is basically to know that you're above it and you're beyond it. So fixative behavior, desire for pleasure, something that pulls you in, something that holds you close. It is, though, very important for us to have a healthy feeling of her in order to live and to strive. And with Mars together and Pluto and Mercury, she's one of the best, of course, indications for spiritual, emotional, and energetic integrity. And though it is a very, very loving and lustful energy, lustful place, it is not the simplest place. And though perhaps for you, Venus can indicate what you're drawn towards, how you're drawing in, or what you draw in, it isn't exactly this star to understand your heart. Until you can understand your fifth house, your art form, where you are actually living in your world, your home, your fourth house, also where you are inside here, in your 12th, and also in your 8th. Like, it is all a combination. It isn't singular. But if you are going by Venus, and you still think that Venus is where the heart is, it is not. It is not. But if you still think that it is, let's have a look, and perhaps I will shed some light for all the different signs. So stay put. Here come all the 12 signs. Okay. And also, yes, actually, to make it easier for you, out of courtesy, in the links below is a chapter. So have a look at the number and click on that number, and all will be revealed. Okay. So you don't have to watch through the whole video. Okay, so Aries, Venus. It's a very particular smell, color, taste, or flavor that you are waiting to experience. There's not really that one person, but rather that one demographic. It isn't quite what you really, really, really like to experience and decide, but rather what you want to have. So For example, if you're a man and you're attracted to a woman who looks like your mother, that's pretty much it. And there has to be an understanding of that in a quantum sense. It isn't about scoping out different people. It's not about looking for love. It is set. Venus in the first house, you have to recognize who you are. If you have Venus in your first house, you are the star of Ishtar. You've got to place yourself next to somebody who's not worried. Otherwise, everything is going to always make you feel sorry. Hunger is something that Ishtar can hold if you are too meek to be bold. So the most important thing for Venus, love, in the first, is to understand your hunger and thirst. Being around more powerful and more exuberant people, and living a life that is maybe made for power, and that is not simple. Venus in the first is something that you have to understand. And if you want something, please try not to pretend. If you really need and if you really desire, Venus in the first, when it is not satisfied, can set you on fire. So though you could be very attracting and very beautiful and very curious and very true, if you don't satisfy you, then perhaps you need to try something new. Okay, I don't know why I turned to poetry. Okay, so Taurus Venus. Taurians. Okay, Taurus Venus. We actually have Venus going to Taurus now. Taurus Venus can be a little bit serious and unfamiliar to other people. Taurus Venus can be a little bit sly and not so simple. Sometimes you want to have some money that is not yours. Sometimes you want to have something, of course, that doesn't belong to you really. And that makes other people feel very silly. So Taurus Venus can have a lot of power and strength. Taurus Venus can be so emotional for others and feel like lust, desire, and sex. In a Taurus Venus, you can see something very, very extraordinary, exuberant, and hasty, but please, with the Taurus Venus, you cannot afford to be hasty. Also, make sure that your contacts are not made entirely based on money, and that you are not trying to be too rich, too powerful, or very funny. Taurus Venus, time is the measure of your cause. Taurus Venus, you have to be in place, and of course, the Taurus Venus has to be entirely seduced, seductive, and pleased. There is something that is forming inside, perhaps a disease, if you don't quench your thirst for adventure and curiosity and occasionally love, because something that you are given will be sent from above. Taurus Venus, you have a gift or a touch of hope. There is somebody inside you. It could be a visionary artist or poet, or it could be a joke to other people if you don't express yourself right. So sometimes, you know, if you have a Taurus Venus or a dark house Venus, you have to express in the night. And on occasion, it might be very easy to get yourself straight if you can realize your needs and your wants, and also please know why you want to create. So thank you very much. The next one is second house Venus, okay? Second house Venus doesn't want to be here. It doesn't really need any type of career. Second house Venus, I mean, I want it all. It's a beautiful chart for somebody who is very much in control, even though they may not know it and feel very stuck. Second house Venus has much more luck than the usual Venus may have. But though it is not at all someone that you might want to behave like, second house Venus, I mean, truly, it's an unfortunate, strange situation. There are lots of people with second house Venus can have a very strange affliction or degradation. Second house Venus can be for somebody who says, why me? I'm so sorry. But at the same time, they're very cute and curious, and they're always hungry or unsure. And yet they're very, very good looking and very powerful people. Second house Venus, I mean, truly could be much more simple. Second house Venus, okay, I mean, seriously, you have to do the right thing, and you have to understand that you live the collective dream. And also, because of this, you cannot be a thing. So objectification of your body or of your mind, objectification of what you have inside. Second house Venus, I mean, truly, you could be so lost and so much disarray, just because right here you want to stay. Sometimes you don't want to move to the next situation because you're too afraid to be uncontained. So please choose a nice, kosher way and a very good, powerful dimension. Realize what you need and do it right here. Schedule is the best. What are you doing here? Understand what your purpose is coming to be, and eventually second house Venus will lead you to being much more ample and free. Okay, Gemini Venus, okay. Don't worry about it. Everything's here. Gemini Venus, you don't need a career. Gemini Venus, you can't be bothered. Something is always offered. There's lots of people that come your way. There's door-knocking people. But just please stay where you are and don't work too hard. Venus and Gemini, everything's a start. Everything's fresh, everything's new. But I mean, truly, is your partner really there for you? Is your mom truly understanding who you are? Or is your purpose the right one? By far, those things that stick around don't really make much sense. But Venus and Gemini, how fun are you? Everything and everyone eventually becomes nuisance, neurologically advanced. You are so pure and creative. But something about you needs to be a little bit more complicated because everything's so easy and so exciting sometimes can lead to a life that is not usually inviting, of stability and peace and poise and relevance. So please always have a good reference. Regard yourself as a beautiful advisor, but also perhaps having someone else in your life that can do that for you is much wiser. So get your friends along on what you're doing. Please make sure that you really stand behind what you're brewing, and making sure that in your family, in your situation, you don't have an excuse to leave in a different direction, because sometimes you're freedom loving and sometimes too much so, and your family life really does grow the seeds that you sow. So if you say something nasty or something mean, it becomes a very strong situation very quickly, and you can't stop that machine. So Venus and Gemini, please make sure that you care. And if you truly are you, make sure that you're there. So yeah, make sure that you really understand the full glamour and peacefulness of life, and make sure that your domestic situations and things at work are not ending in strife. Thank you very much. Okay, so now Venus in the third house. Okay, your time is now to do the best of all. If you have been born with this Venus in the third, you have to be all. You are the breath and the life of creation. You cannot just stay there. You need to bring up something of greater passion and satisfaction. You are not just a boy, and you're not just a lady. You're something much greater. You are the world, baby. You are the world and the star of creation, the star of Ishtar in the third. I mean, seriously. This is not for procrastination, but procrastinate you might too much. And that's okay as long as you understand why. And yeah, sometimes things come in a bunch. Sometimes you need to scroll through a Facebook feed. Only understand how much you need. Sometimes you need to sit there and stare just to understand what you're really doing there, because you are the all, and the all you will be. The point here is just not to see radicalism as something you need to create, and not to make fun of other people by mistake, because you are pointing all fingers back to you. You are pointing to you when you are not true. So third house Venus, you have to be here. You have to really understand the worth of your practicality and your career. And perhaps you are also a very good seer, and your mind is of a visionary. Please don't drink beer. Please don't watch sport that you don't need to watch. Please don't indulge, because, well, of course, it is nice to indulge. But it can also make damage if you then later cannot any longer purge or emerge. It can be very easy to be stuck and contained. Third house Venus can also be put in prison or detained. Third house Venus makes it hard to move from place to place. It makes it super easy to fall for things that you later regret and cannot place. So stop and consider your true mission here. Otherwise, it could be a jailbird's career. Thank you so much. Okay. Venus in Cancer. Okay. Venus in Cancer creates through dominance and poise. Venus Cancer likes all the girls and all the boys and wants to taste and savor without really understanding why. There is something of a lustful feeling in this girl or guy. There are lots of people with Venus in Cancer that want to do it all. There's lots of desires and feelings that could be under control, but yet inside is the all. So, if you have Venus in Cancer, consider, what are you truly doing here? And why do you shiver? Is there something inside that perhaps is hiding away? Is there something that you are trying to say, but yet you're trying to escape it with a wine and a biscuit? You know, like Cancer Venus. Let's understand it. You don't need more, you just need less. There is something about you that makes us all feel blessed. You're in the dark sign of Cancer. There is something emotional brewing. You are enormous to us. You are glowing. You are radical. You are goopy. You make us feel so young and so stupid. I mean, truly, Cancer Venus is something so resonating. To me, Cancer Venus is even degradingly lush and so super abundant. If you have Cancer Venus, especially on your ascendant, I mean, truly you have us all up here in our meaninglessness and lust. You might have a beautiful head of hair or a gorgeous bust. You could be the most prettiest girl or the most sultry guy. But Cancer Venus, please try. Try, do your homework, get a good job. You know, you need to do things right. Don't be a slob. Thank you so much. Fourth house Venus is the one that likes to do things that are fun, at the same time as trying to be a little bit too interested in other people's things. Fourth house Venus, I mean, sometimes a lot of attention to foolish things it brings. You know, who did what? Did you see on TV? Did you hear what they said about little old me? Cancer Venus can be the same sometimes too, but Cancer house Venus, fourth house Venus, holy cow, you guys, you are looking for something that's new. You're trying to find truth beyond yourself, and sometimes you can suffer just because this one can stuff you. And yeah, on some occasion you can be argumentative because there is something about you that is not able to be repetitive. And a repetitive life you will live if you cannot see the truth or just simply forgive. Yeah, give those shits. Sometimes you have to give none. But the one thing about you is that truly you're fun. So thank you so much. Leo. Oh, actually, no, I'm not done. Fourth house Venus. You're a beautiful bum. You are probably one of the greatest in bed, to be sure. And the suggestive energy that you probably always have is very pure. But don't please stray around places that you don't need to be. As fourth house Venus, sometimes you cannot believe if you don't see. So it's very easy to be seduced and murmured, blurred into somebody else's lines and lies, even be murdered. So fourth house Venus, please be careful of your placing in time and don't let your curiosity put you out of line. Okay. Leo Venus. Okay, yeah, it is true. Leo Venus is usually there for you. Leo Venus is like a stupid little friend, but such a great soul. And you will not see it until things are out of control. Leo Venus, you know, sometimes, whoop, you don't know why you're there, but something happens and you're right here. You are right here. You are right here inside of your heart. Leo Venus, though, don't pull people apart. Try not to do the thing that you do when you think about stuff Because sometimes up here is never enough. It is all in the heart. It is very confusing. Leo Venus, you could be using, and sometimes thinking too much of things that are really getting your brain in a bunch. Take a hunch. Try to be real and really here. I mean, Leo, fully grown Leo Venus can break you into the biggest career. You can paint murals to cover the world. You can make beauty of silver and gold. You can make something so much more than you know. But the thing is with Leo Venus is like, how much do you glow? How much can you see who you are in here? And sometimes, unless you have Mercury in the 5th house or something, it's a very drab career. So it's like a mission to get you out there. Okay? Leo, Venus, you don't have to be here, but try to transfer some of that hard energy up. Perhaps some light body activations is more than enough. Maybe asking for love from other places than down there. Maybe a beautiful friend will get you there. Maybe a big business mind will get you promoted. Perhaps Leo, Venus, it doesn't need to be all sugar-coated. You know, sometimes you can't eat if it isn't a flavor. But you've got to watch your health now. You are our greatest world saver. I mean, you could be an emotional prophet for the rest of us people, but sometimes you cannot have things just as they are, which is basic and simple. But try. Get a manager, get a producer. Leo, Venus, please don't be a user or an abuser. It's such a good time to really consider, because Leo, Venus, yes, you are great. You are not a sinner. 5th house Venus, okay. Don't try too hard. Don't break your back. 5th house Venus. Everything you've done in your past life perhaps is a mistake. Blame nobody, try nothing. Just do. Everything is already there for you. The ingredients have come together. There's always someone who's a bird of a feather. There's always going to be someone giving you things to create. There's not a mistake in the world. But sometimes you might feel like you're at a mistake, or you're at a crux and not quite there. 5th house Venus. There is somebody else that is placed beside that person sometimes that you care for. You crave for somebody else, and that makes a mistake. 5th house Venus, hurry up. You can have that cake. You can wear that dress. You can be ambitious, because we all understand you on some level, and we all unanimously probably think that you're delicious. Not vicious, not strong, not stressful, not troubled. The 5th house Venus, you know, sometimes you can be doubled. You can be pushed in. You can be unachieved, mischievous, strange and strong. And sometimes not a lot it will bring. But one of the greatest ways to deliver is just to understand that you are the receiver. You're receiving, you don't have to do. I mean, truly, everything's there for you. Collections, making a mark, taking lots of different pictures. It's not about the dark. You don't have to worry about your force or your focus being unready, because inside is already something that is much more steady. You don't have to humor other people and what you think you should do. You don't have to do things over and over again. You are true. The main thing about Venus in the 5th is that you are you, and everything should just come to you. Order online, make a big store, leave all these things behind and say, sure, I will just employ, manage, or produce or reproduce. You don't have to put your mind into too much use. You are a perfect manager, collector, designer, fashionista. 5th house Venus. I mean, truly, you are good at any job. You could be the most amazing barista. You could be the most amazing creator. It's just don't get caught up, lost in that stuff. It's not about fate. Don't be a hater. Don't try to fish out what anybody else is doing. Clear your palate. It is all coming to you. It's all doing its own doing. Doing. Fifth house, Venus. Okay, that was a little weird. It was fine. Okay, so Virgo Venus. Sorry, I had a friend just knock on the door. Virgo Venus makes a lot of sense in time. Virgo Venus, you know, life is not a pantomime anymore. It has to be secure. Virgo Venus, you might be a little bit too good looking, too connected, or too pure. Sometimes you don't have the time for anybody. And that's why you're never really happy with yourself or with your body. You're never happy with who they are, where they're from. You can't decide or yet design the full life in which you feel control. Virgo Venus likes to be polite. Virgo Venus, me, okay? Sometimes does best at night. Virgo Venus can't see anybody here until you can understand that you're a born healer. Virgo Venus. You are not that easily strayed, diluted, dissected, or lost. You can kind of understand that, you know, about me here, kind of always the boss. You know, Virgo Venus doesn't really see anybody else's life as true. Virgo Venus will always be, though, there for you. Even though it does not really love, it doesn't really care, it is always kind and always there. Something inside is always in the right place. But for other people, maybe they have a very interesting face. Maybe they're a little bit strange or a little bit queer. There is a weird situation or a need for a different career every time a Virgo Venus goes through an expansion. There is something weird about you that needs a new situation. But, you know, like, even if you don't really like who you are, even if you don't quite feel that you've taken it quite far enough or too far at all, Virgo Venus, there is something about you guys that's always in control. Don't worry, nobody does it to you. You're doing it, really. And until you can see that, perhaps everybody or everything feels unhealing. You're in control. Don't worry about that. But yes, you sometimes would do best with a dog or a cat. Crazy cat lady. It's okay. Sixth house, Venus. Some of us feel very strongly about life. We can take the opportunity too seriously and be too much of a husband or a wife. Sixth house, Venus doesn't know when to stop. Sixth house Venus sometimes is gobsmacked. It wants the lot to turn and do its own thing. Sixth house Venus, I mean, truly, sometimes you can't win because you want the uncomfortable, you want the unwantable. Sixth house Venus, you are flaunting something that perhaps is too vulnerable. Sometimes you can be on the outside about things you don't need to say or be. Sixth house Venus, you are a worker bee for nothing sometimes. Please consider how much time you spend on anything you're doing and don't over-deliver. You don't need to do half the things that you're doing, sixth house Venus. You are a blueprinting beauty. You can create a viral video or two. You could make something that is right just for you that everybody else later wants in their wardrobe or a life. You could be the most amazing husband or wife. Yes, yes, we know you are perfect, truly, really, but sixth house, Venus, there is just so much feeling for things that are not adaptable, things that are not perfectible, trying to change everybody's mind, wanting to be that weird girl or guy, wanting to see someone else shine, wanting to be the one that makes a crime or a virtue or truth or a pact. Being too much sometimes, too epic is a huge mistake. Just make you, who you want to be. If you do for yourself, it'll set you free. Make a bag or a brochure or do things you love. And then that for yourself is enough. Okay? Don't cover the world. Don't drum the drum. You don't need to do things unless they are actually fun for you. And then you've got the greatest situation. One of the best things about you is that you are the greatest gift of affection and enthusiasm when we don't really know what to do. So yeah, 6th house Venus is just all about you. Okay. Libra. Libra Venus likes to be addicting. Libra Venus makes you think the wrong thing. Venus Libra wants to be sensually pleasing. It doesn't want you to look past it. It wants to mesmerize with feeling. Libra Venus wants all the attention all the time. Libra Venus thinks it is a great big crime if you don't give it something that it wants to have. Libra Venus, please behave. Wow. Libra Venus. You don't have to shave. You don't have to wear the best clothes to be pleasing. You don't even have to be scrumptious or teasing. Libra Venus, you are sexy as you are, but holy cow, you are the neediest by far. Libra Venus, you don't have to do so many things to please another. You don't even have to try to be the best sister or brother. You don't even have to make that pact or sign that paper. You don't have to be a famous ballet dancer or rapper. You can just do you and be maybe a little bit less ambitious, because when you try too hard, you are much less delicious. And if you push for fame or you push for a love affair, things can turn around, be not very fair. If you're pushing for the stage or for that special time, sometimes this can lead other people to reject you and impact someone else or something else. And that might feel a dozen a dime, rejection, being left alone, being the one sitting back and watching other people belong. You know, trying too hard to fit in is not really yours to do. So make sure you don't try. You are perfect as you. Okay? 7th house Venus. Making time for people is not hard, but please consider how you are impacting your own life. What is your art? How you are with others is insane. You can have an amazing time. You could even have a professional game of marriage, lust, and sexuality. You probably are the most wanted one at any party. You could be very welcomed in bed with somebody, or you could just work out and pay more attention to your actual body. If you want to, I mean, you can do anything you want. 7th house Venus. On some level, there is something about you that the world has forgot, and you revive it within us through sensuality and a strange level of meditation. But, you know, something about 7th house Venus is truly not for any situation. There is a left out feeling no matter what you do, especially if you are close to the descendant line. I mean, how are you? Yeah, you can teach us many things. There is something beautiful about you and something that attention brings, but how are you feeling? You have to check in. 7th house Venus. You are not a creature of sin, but truly sin you can be if you don't remember what you're doing. And sometimes within this what if feeling, there's a disaster that's brewing. You can be in trouble many times in your life simply because you want too much to be the perfect husband or wife, or you're trying so little for you and so much for the other. And yeah, you are the perfect sister or brother, but holy cow, do you really need to do what you're doing? There's usually something unbeknownst that is brewing, some type of paperwork going astray, somebody who's leaving or is ready to leave without a doubt, and you don't know. The pendulum may sway. So please make sure that you are not in a karmic debt or situation, and try to find other ways to give you that affection. Okay, perfection. Venus in Scorpio, okay. Venus in Scorpio! Scorpio, you don't have to be here. Okay, so you're in the dark, and that is so real, so healing. You work beneath the surface, which is fine. And sometimes where everybody else goes is not really for your mind. On some level, you can't really truly connect, and that's good. But if you don't believe that is good, then what's going on with your bod and your blood? You can get sick, you can get really unwell. If you fear that by being different, you're going to hell. You don't have to worry about what other things are doing or thinking or feeling. Behind the scenes is fine. You are very seeing, sincere, and sensitive human, to be sure. I mean, Venus in Scorpio, you are the practical cure, and sometimes you got the words and the information that we need the most. But holy cow, when Venus is in Scorpio already, it is too much for us sometimes, and they do like to boast about things that perhaps are not really clear, and on some level disguise their perfect path as a healer. They can't see themselves sometimes too much entertainment and attention, and for some reason it's quite a joke, but you kind of suck at affection. You know, Venus and Scorpio, you think you would be the sex and the best, but truly, you just try so hard to be like the rest, and sometimes you can't see past your own needs and desires, and truly I think that you always could do much better and climb much higher. But Venus and Scorpio, though, you know, you guys have a great attention to detail, and this is where you can send us running for you. I mean, truly, you can make us very insecure and unwell, because some of us really truly want to know how you did what you do. And there are many fake friends sometimes because of this, but what you do is beautiful. You get a lot of attention. Some of you guys can lead a life of intense, deep perfection and intention. I mean, some of you guys can be entire your own universe or world, but it is such a sad sight to behold when a Scorpio Venus doesn't understand what they're doing. It is so hard to see when there is definitely something brewing, when you're not well and you're not saying anything about it. So please trust your friends. Please trust your life. Try not to doubt it. Thank you. 8th house, okay. 8th house Venus doesn't like to be seen. 8th house Venus feels a little less serene than other people. It is judging and joking about 8th house Venus. There is way too much room for doubt. I mean, truly, you guys, to me, look conversating and easy to please, but always speculating, breaking free all the time, finding a new adventure, trying to change your world. It's a masochist's path sometimes. Can lead you to great rapture and to great misinformation, trying to be the only one who ever knew or is knowing. There is something very grand about you that's growing. 8th house Venus, you know you can do better if you just sit and think. Very easy to be lost with things that you think are on a brink. Who's there? Who's here? I'm paranoid. Really? I mean, truly. 8th house Venus, you are the seer and the seeing. You don't need to try so hard to be misinterpreted or pushed about. 8th house Venus. What's the point of doubt? Okay, 8th house Venus. You have a great conversation with Source, and you are very powerful and very beautiful, of course. You don't have to dispute your own situation. You're fine with us all. There is no strangeness or dissatisfaction. There needs to be no conversation, reflection, or blasphemy here. You are a great product of God, and you are here, and you don't know. how much here you are, you know. But yeah, 8th house Venus, you know you're the star. Sagittarian Venus, okay. Sagittarian Venus, you beauty. You are one of the mostest, you are the beautifulest, the fruity, the needy, the triumphant, the deep and the strong. Venus in Sagittarius, you make it so long. You make us look back and look forward in time. Sagittarius Venus, you make abbreviation feel like a crime. Let's all expand everything all about. Let's make it all beautifuler. Let's make it all without doubt, but doubt all the time. Venus and Sagittarius, your life can be riddled in crime and strangeness, speculation, corporate weirdness and corporate dissatisfaction. You can be lost for a while, sometimes too, because Sagittarian Venus does something to you that makes you feel the stuff too much. It feels way too big. It feels in a bunch. Something's not comfortable, something's not real. It is so important to you how you feel. You want all the work to be done by another. You're a great visionary, pride of a town. You're a greatest lover or mother. You are so big and so grandiose. But what are you doing? I mean, really, of course, like, how are you truly beyond that dimension? Like, do you sometimes feel itchy, you know, or weird, or young, or old? Do you feel frustration? Do you get angry or jealous or prudish or strange? There is something in your life that is so simple that's outside of your range because it feels too small and too mediocre. Yes, Venus and Sagittarius, you are a big talker, but please reduce yourself down to a size that is contained, because otherwise who you are is too vast to be detained. Okay, 9th house Venus. It's a pleasure to see. 9th house Venus is usually there for you and me, right on time, right on schedule, they come. And sometimes they can seem a little bit too open and dumb. 9th house Venus, you know, they're very excited. 9th house Venus sometimes turns up uninvited. Sometimes, you know, they turn up and they don't even know why they're there. And at the same time, they look kind of perfectly perfect for the situation or their career. You know, like, they're always here. They're always on time. 9th house Venus. Please don't do any more than you need to. I mean, sometimes it's a crime to see you try so hard to spruce up everything and everybody. 9th house Venus, you know, your gift of presence is no good for anybody if you are working yourself to the bone every day. If you are trying to be someone you're not, if you're pretending that you're this or you're that, you're straight or you're gay, you're big or you're small, you're this or you're that, nobody cares. Later in life, you'll regret trying so hard for nobody, really. 9th house Venus, don't be so silly. Okay? Just do the thing that you always wanted to do anyway. And all of that speculation will go away. Any kind of inflammation or bad breath or bad posture is just, of course, the price you get for feeling like an imposter. 9th house Venus. Just do yourself a favor, really. You are the one that just knows stuff. And yeah, you can be very poorly, weirdly dressed, presented, or understood if you don't understand what is inside your blood. Cleansing is such an important venture that will send you apart from the rest. Enjoy the adventure. You know it best. Thank you so much. Enjoy, I'm here. Perhaps you also need a psychic's career. Okay, so Venus in Capricorn, I know you guys so well. It's a pattern of mine, okay? Venus in Capricorn, you don't have to hunt or work so hard. Who you think is on your radar is usually not for love. What you think you want to do sometimes is too deep and too powerful, really. And you can be a little bit scaly or peely. There is something about people with Capricorn Venus that's not quite enticing. Sometimes there is a bad breath situation, infestations. Things can get nasty. And nasty they can get inside on your own when you think that you are way too far gone and you don't know what you want, but still you are looking to power and control someone else or something else that is not emotionally responding or connecting. You guys are very vast, and this is the sign for regretting. I mean, truly, love and lust are not really here. You don't need to love so much somebody who is not as much of a seer and as much of a doer as you. You need to understand what's appropriate. And sometimes what you think it is not true. Ask someone else. What is appropriate here? What's this person for me? They might just be someone else. They might not be for you yet or at all, my dear. It's like the incompatible, uncomfortable situation is something that you really want. Yet the right situation is not. Can you see how ironic it is when you try? Could you please just understand that person or that person is just a girl or a guy and just let them go? Let it all reveal itself clear. Because really, Capricorn Venus, you have to be here. And sometimes you guys work so hard every day, and yet inside yourself you cannot stay. You're somewhere else. I'm someone new today. Blackmail. Unconfident comments. The inner world will sway and betray, and you will never see what happened until the last minute sometimes. Capricorn Venus, you sometimes feel like you hold within you too many crimes to really show to another, and guilt and burdens of the past can make you a terrible husband or mother. You can actually be very stiff sometimes with your own children, relatives, or lovers. Because Capricorn Venus, you can be smotherers, smugglers, stuffers. And that has to be seen very far through your timeline sometimes. When you want somebody badly, tantric bond dies. If you want something really heartily, sometimes it's not at all what it seems. And when you really require something or somebody, that can break your dreams. You can break your life over someone else's sorrow or situation. You could make yourself whole just by recognizing your own inner frustration, not project onto another what you think they should do or how they should behave. Capricorn Venus, you have to spruce up, dress well, create, behave in such a way that you understand yourself purely. This is not the sign to be wild and unruly. This is not the energy or the time to be crazy or shady. It's a very containing energy. And through containment, you're happy. Sometimes some of you guys are much happier in captivity than outside. I mean, some of you guys are much happier when you have strange feelings inside, and on some level you have to be super clean and super educated just to make sure that you don't miss the ride, the boat. And please don't get frustrated. So thank you very much. 10th house Venus. Hi, how are you? Yeah, I know. Some of what we do isn't true. Some of what we do may not be entirely for the space or time or era. But here we have the unlikely hero, really true and useful for something that they don't know that they need to do. Some Capricorn house Venuses are not for you. They are inedible. They're not able to be caught, grasped, or understood. 10th house Venus, you know, it kind of boils the blood that sometimes we just can't stay in one situation. 10th house Venus doesn't like most conversations. It doesn't want to be here or there. It kind of just wants to be its own little hero. And that's fine. Okay. But consider your precious time. If you're always bumping heads and trying so hard in ways that are too enthusiastic, you could be, for another person, so uninteresting and plastic. You don't really have a culture or representation. Some of you guys are just a lot of dark thoughts and frustration, and some of us, yeah, 10th house Venus, it's true. We don't really want to be there for you, you know, like bumping heads, being a teenager every day, wanting to be straight or be gay or to be strange or to be sorry, to be weird, to be horny. Capricorn 10th house Venus is a little annoying. There is somebody inside that's never quite sorry. I'm not sorry at all. What are you doing here? But building in the right direction gets you what you need in a powerful career. Only if you do not want to be here. But if you're a master of life, 10th house Venus, usually means that you are. And that means that you need to be pure and strong. You've got to know who you are. You can't just sing a song, write a message to someone else, you know, beat a drum for nobody. Like, really concentrate and see who you are. Witness yourself embodied. It's hard. There are so many other dimensions, you know. There's too many friends and too much ambition or conversation. There's regret in the air with everything that you're seeing or feeling or doing, but somebody inside is really perfecting its core. And you could be brewing a miracle or a child of great worth and potential. But something with 10th house Venus makes it unreputable sometimes and not special, you know, or too special, too erratic, too rich or too poor. 10th house Venus, you're a predator as well on some level, and that's not so good. But build a place or a house that is sure. Build yourself a career that's not a frustration, and perhaps you will find yourself immense wealth in any situation. That's about me. Okay, so Aquarian Venus. Aquarian Venus wants to be here. Aquarian Venus can be so sincere and really reeling for that next dimension. You know, Aquarian Venus, you guys really hang on to words in each good conversation, even not good, but still hanging on. Venus in Aquarius. How are you? Look at yourself. Does your heart burn? Can you feel something inside that shouldn't be? That sometimes also is right for me as I'm on a cusp between 10th and 11th, but truly, Aquarian Venus, you're looking for 7th. What I mean is you're looking for love everybody knows. And that leads you to many different places. And yes, of course, you get a bit of a peck on the nose, but everyone kind of moves on to their own situation because you have way too much zest and curiosity about human affection, and enthusiasm here truly does not work at all. Some of you guys are just crunching numbers and you're not in control. You want everybody to think that you're pretty, or somehow you seem like you wear your heart on your sleeve, or you're just way overcommittal, or you're trying to dig too deep into someone else's closet or situation. You are working too hard for us all, and that leads us to greater frustration. I mean, you're annoying sometimes. That's okay. I mean, you guys already know what it's like to be here. It's not really about being straight or gay, this or that or the other. You're just one with it all, and you're so creative as well. And you are the best sister or brother. You really know how to support another. And that's cool. It's all under control at the same time, you know. And together, forever, it cannot be. At the same time as being so loving and free, you truly want someone else to be here and there for you. They can't last because you're too good for your own situation sometimes, and that deems you unable to be here. You can't stay. Lust takes over. Control issues ignite a need for forever with a brand new version of what you think you are. And that means that you're the lustiest by far, or you just have too much angst, energy, or pride. There's too much going on inside. Aquarian Venus can't see where they're going on some level in life. They will not be showing, but on occasion they might have a dis-ease or dissatisfaction simply out of having so much scatter inside. It's a very odd situation. I mean, truly, you find everything where it shouldn't be or be placed. I mean, Aquarian Venus with lust, you are laced, but never enough is not really my place to say. I mean, one of the greatest things about you guys is that you don't have to be the same. You shouldn't need to do the things that other people are doing, and sometimes we don't even know what's going on, what's brewing, until you come around and you show us the world. You are a prophet in disguise, and you should never be told. You should never be told how to work, dress, wear, or live. And there is something that you do that will always forgive. You know, like, you can do many things that are lustful and crazy, but nothing tells you off, because you are beyond it. I mean, sometimes you guys are even lazy knowing that you've done it and you don't have to be here. I mean, you are beyond our thoughts and our feelings. You are beyond being told how to love another. You are beyond lovemaking even, or a portrait of a perfect lover or mother or giver or carer. You are beyond it all. And sometimes you guys don't look like it, but everything is under your control, or you feel strong about things that you feel weak about. There is very much variance with Aquarian Venus. You kind of know what love is about, but yet again, love doesn't really live in the same place for you or the other. There's always a separation or a difference, and it can never be on offer. I mean, what you give cannot be kept or understood, and sometimes you can actually have a lot of parasites and bacteria and still live in a good bod, because you hold something that is beyond this dimension, as you have a very different conversation to Source, with Source. Everybody knows. There is something inside you that truly glows and grows, and though you could have tumors or any kind of illness or disease, there is something about you that knows how to combat life with ease and doesn't need to force or struggle. So I hope that you are well. But it's an interesting way that you always know how to cuddle and know how to cuddle into life in greater situation. And though you probably want everybody to be there for you, there is never frustration. We can forgive you and let you go forever, because there is something about you that is truly important to us all. You are the developer, the carer, and the changer of the game for us evolving people. And yes, perhaps loving you is not ever so simple, but simple you will make it for us, even though we might not even think of evolving So there is something very much better for you usually on the horizon. So make sure that your previous dimensions are dissolving. Okay, thank you very much. Let go of the past, Aquarium, Venus, and you will have no worries. Thank you for seeing us. Okay, 11th house. That's me. 11th house Venus doesn't like to be on board with things. It knows how much pain conformity brings. It kind of realizes what other people are about. It can kind of tell what's up and what brings it down. It can smell a situation before it happens. It can see the perfect portrait of its lover or its happiness. It doesn't really want to know anything that it doesn't need to see. It can kind of tell what's up. And here is the point. It can lead to dis-ease. It can lead to dissatisfaction and strangeness and aggression, because Aquarian house Venus doesn't really see anything else apart from its own association. Sometimes everybody else who is not there, who hasn't caught on, just leaves and falls away. Things can go missing and gone. Things can be stolen. Things can be misunderstood or misinterpreted here, because 11th house Sun doesn't care for you. Or you. It doesn't care if you can be here. It doesn't care if you are there in front of it at all. 11th house Sun really will not usually respond unless it feels that things are correct for itself, and that requires control. So please, 11th house Sun, make sure that you're not burning anyone, and make sure that you are living a life that is yours, but also make sure that you're not missing out on all the fun because you are too strong about your conception of life and your conception of will. And yes, also 11th house Sun can unusually heal. It can heal through laughter, it can heal through emotion. It can have a very beautiful therapies packed into itself. It heals like the ocean. 11th house Sun can make you frustrated because there are so many things that seem premeditated that just kind of fall into place, and control is a game that makes it uncomfortable, but usually all things fall in line. They're the same. The partners represent a similar vibration. The work that this person does has one message that can lead to frustration. Maybe there is one print that this person enjoys. Maybe there is just one place that this person goes. But the perfect thing about this type of Venus is that it has a beautiful heart and a mightier presence. There is something about it that is very much here. It is strong and it's true. And it's probably not truly about the career of anything really. It's just about being so pure and so healing, and it doesn't even know what it does, but it'll do. 11th house Venus, the world is there for you. It's just that sometimes you don't see that it is, because you are too strong about your needs, and you can be Siamese with people that don't need you at all. And that's really uncomfortable to say, but this Venus can choose a situation that's not so grand, or that one that will betray simply out of the need to be perfectly sound, and in a sense end all dis-ease and disharmony, but that's where they're found. Okay, so Venus in 11th, please try to be open to life, and make sure that you're not making the same thing over and over without realizing it, because that can lead to strife. Okay, Pisces Venus. Okay, it's a long video, okay? Okay, Pisces Venus. Something you do is not important. Something you do is much less potent than you think. And that love that you feel is not usually what you bring about in other people, really. I mean, truly, sometimes you might feel silly as the ages change and life does turn. You will understand one day why you were drawn. Why you were drawn sometimes is not what it seems or represents. I mean, truly, Piscean Venus, you regenerate and things end. Everything ends, and on some level what you have given us will last and last and last and be in greater purpose, but there is something about you that is unsound and never is enough for your own self. So, regurgitated feelings, imitations of life. There are too many feelings that are not quite yours, and you don't quite know how to be husband or wife. It's like you're walking behind a different dimension, and you are so sexy and free, but there's a polar opposite situation. You can be fun while being exhausted. You could also be cared for while being not wanted, being lost or being abused at the same time, right here. And something about you guys that is of youth and of death and of fear. There are so many polarities within one person or one situation, which can make you guys really unconscious and in many ways uncomfortable. In any way for another person, you do cause frustration. You get frustrating very fast. We want you here, but by being anywhere, you start to disappear. Light and dark are never what they seem. With a Piscean Venus, you are inside a dream. You can't truly see it, but perhaps your emotion is not sound. Maybe what you touch will not be around. Perhaps that's what is happening here, you see? Venus and Pisces can't quite grasp what it means to be me. And that means that there is no identity, perhaps, really. It's just regurgitated story until one day you see what is feeling. And that has to last and last. But this type of situation doesn't come fast. You first have to see where you are not being true. And as you stop committing in an archetypally unpure way, the doors will open for you. So thank you so much, Venus and Pisces. You are the best at love. You are the best. You excite me. And you entice me. Okay. Venus in the 12th house, okay. Start to see the truth very, very fast. Some of us with this placement don't see love or lust from lust. We can't tell who's there and who's not really here. We're still going on where we cannot see it. We are blinded by things that cannot be. It is not about us. There is something more than that. Breathing free. We've got to let go and stop containing our hearts. 12th house Venus. You don't have to do anything that isn't art. You don't need to try too hard to please another. Some of us have very ironic lives. And it's not because it's dark, it's because we can't see that it's over. We can't tell that it's done until it's too late, till it makes us feel bad. On some level, we cannot sleep. We stay in our bed, or we just feel fear, and it shows. Sometimes for some of us, on the outside, it grows. Deformities or strange afflictions are possible here. And it's not because we are bad people or insincere. We cannot let go. And that should be seen. Venus in the 12th house. You are the dream. You are the dream. You are much larger and lighter than you think you are. You are the grandness of the world, and yes, by far you cannot see at all which way to go until it is way too dark to see. And yes, this Venus is the same in me, because when we can't tell and we cannot truly understand, that's when life gives us a hand, and all the stuff we thought we wanted comes to light as just a barrage of old memories. Unite with people that can see you. Unite with that which will not fear you, that which will give and that which will feed. This is the type of Venus that requires awful lot of shifts and a great velocity and speed, simply because you do not see how far you've gone until that last breath. Really. Venus in the 12th house. You do not have to kill thee to see truth. You do not have to bind yourself with ugliness or misuse. You don't have to be in a weird, contracted situation just because you're lost for words. But look at you. Your spirit is beyond imagination. And that means that you have to live it up and not spiral down. Venus in the 12th house. You're not addicted or addicting or addictive. You're a clown. So, thank you very much, however sign you are. I hope that this has been not too exhausting. This for me, by far, it could have been, poetry. I don't usually do this kind of stuff. And yes, if you do not feel that this is enough, please get a reading. I'm available for those. And if you would like, yes, I can speak in prose. So the most, I guess, important thing that I'm doing is showing on the outside what inside is brewing. So my music and my art and shop and books are all in caption, and I hope that you have enjoyed sailing along with me on this dimension. Thanks a lot, enjoy, and I'll see you next time. Bye! Bye!